Well, welcome back. In our continuing series of upgrading my 96 F250 XL, we are going to work on installing power locks, as this unit obviously came with no power locks and no power windows, both of which we're hoping to fix. This unit I found online from a company called A1 Electronic, and it comes with a pair of actuators, one for each door, which using the bracketry that comes with it, you'll attach to the linkage that goes up and down on the lock, and this will override that. It also comes with a control module and a pair of remotes so that you can unlock it from a pretty good distance away. And then also it comes with a lock and unlock button that goes inside, so you can mount that inside your door. I looked around quite a bit. This seemed to be the simplest system. It's fairly universal, this part is. So it's a pretty easy install. There's quite a few videos on there, but I'm going to go ahead and do one of my own just because I'm doing the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and open up the door, get the door card off, and start working on getting some of this stuff wired in, and then get these installed as well. And go from there. Alright, so we're going to continue on and go ahead and working on putting in our electric locks. In addition to that, I also ordered a replacement for these window seals right here. So while we have all this apart, we're going to go ahead and try to replace that as well. So first thing we're going to do is remove the door handle. You're going to need a couple of cheaters on. I think this is an 8mm. Yeah, so an 8mm. And the bolt that's on this thing, if you put your hand here and just push in, okay, the nut is right there. So you just have to slide it in there. It sits like this here, so when you put your finger in, you can try and feel it. Alright, next thing you need, a flathead screwdriver. Kind of just put it right in there between the guard and the little plastic ring that's there, washer. I'm just going to pop that loose. And then you need a torque number 20. Get this out. Screwdriver. Here and on the handrest. Lock that. Wiggle, and it pops right off. Now you can see why we're going to go ahead and change these out, because they're attached right here. So all we do is pop these off, pop that off, put the new ones on, and boom, we're done. All you have to do is just push down on it, and it pops right off. So the actuator needs to be mounted as close to in line with the rod as possible. So to do that, what I decided to do was I stuck it back in there, and it needs a flat surface, and there just happens to be one right here. So the little rubber pieces, the little push pins, go here and here. So I didn't want to go anywhere over here because it'll get in the way. So this little flat surface right here puts it, and the rod basically runs right here. So it comes straight up, and then it turns and goes up to this. And then it goes straight up and down. So it kind of makes this turn here, and then it goes straight up. So if I mount it here, I should be able to put the rod up to here and be able to hit it no problem. So we're going to put it on here, mark where these two holes need to be, drill them out, and then I'm going to find, hopefully I got some long enough screws where I'm going to come through here and then bolt it in. So put the bolt going that way in here. So we'll get some pretty small screws that'll go in. Alright, and I happen to have some of these pretty long 16 by 32 little screws. They're probably longer than they need to be. I may end up having to whack them off to make sure it doesn't hit the glass, but let's stick it in there and find out. Oh yeah, we're nowhere near the glass. Alright. So let me go ahead and tighten those up. And it says hand tight. Alright, so once you get this thing mounted in there like that, you cut your thing length, it just slides through, and then it'll sit there like this. I still may be a little too long actually, now that I look at it. We'll find out. Yeah, that's going to be, yep, I'm going to cut that down some more. Alright, so now once you get your rod cut down, this thing sits in there like this, then all you do is just run it through, put it in position, and then we're going to make sure make sure that when it's in position it doesn't bind up as it goes up and down. So what I may do is I may put it through the other side if I can. That way it's got a little bit of leeway up and down to make contact, or to attach to this. So what it has on here is it comes with this little block. You slide this on here, like so, and then once it goes in, then you just slide this over the rod up here and then attach it. I'm gonna, yeah, make sure you point the screws in the set screws in a way so that you can actually reach them. I'm gonna have to loosen this up so that I can get that rod to start from the back side. There we go. All right. Tighten it up on the arm, but it's going to be more enough. Alright, now take the Allen wrench, put it up in there and try to tighten them both down. A little bit of a challenge trying to do it blind. Alright, so part of the issue I have is the fact that the rod is straight and there's a little curve right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to match this little bend right here in the top here so that it goes up and down just like that does. What you want is you want these rods, wherever you're making contact, they got to be parallel. And so it turns right up here. So we're going to go ahead and try this out. Alright, so you can see how I kind of got it, it's kind of hard to show you there, but I've got it close to parallel as I can and got it locked into place. Obviously the set pins are on the back side, you can't see, and that runs all the way down to our actuator. So now we'll go ahead and duplicate that on the other side and then work on running the wiring. Alright, so the next phase is mounting the relay and all the wiring. You pull this out, it comes disconnected, snap it together. You've got two leads that are pretty dang long. One goes to each door. So it says to mount this somewhere on the left side. I want to make sure I've got enough distance to go both sides, left and right, so I will probably mount it more in the middle, and then we're going to figure out how to run. Right now, we're going to figure out how to run this wire through the little harness here, through that little loom that's there. So we have to run it through, which means we get to take part of this off, which is not a big deal because we're going to end up replacing this trim right here, and so I've got to pull all of this trim off anyway. So it seems like the bracket for this broke. I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of way of reattaching this, otherwise this is gonna bounce around. But oh, that's not easy to get to. So there's just a solid piece of metal here. How do I get to that? So the problem is I need to get to this right here, but it has this plate that takes up all that room, and I can't get my hand up underneath there. So I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to try to come in and feed a wire or something, a string or something, to see if we can get it to drop down in here and then try to pull it back through. So the best way to do this is to pull this off and then feed the wire up through this big opening here, and then just try to grab it in here, and then you can feed it down through this into the door. So we got the wire run over here, and I've exposed the wires that are in here. When it comes with it, when you get the kit, it comes with these little connectors that you have to put on yourself. So you have to strip the wires, put these on, and it's got these little covers that slide over. But before I do that, I also have to wire in my door lock and unlock switch here. Provides quite a bit of wire. I'll deal with that later. But anyway. So what it says is, it says that you wire it in directly with whatever, purple for purple, there's a brown, black and black. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and strip these, and then I'm going to try to put both wires on the connector. That way they're connected together to reduce the number of splices that I have. You have to turn it. The little plastic thing has a little catch pin inside there, and so you have to make sure you turn the top part where it goes like curves in like this. It goes toward where that little catch pin is. Kind of push that little flap down to get the wires to go through. Otherwise they catch. Alright, finally got all those done. So now, just match up the wires. Tell you what I am going to do. Not crazy about all this being exposed, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap that all up. And I am using splicing tape, much better than electrical tape, this type of application. It's more of a rubberized tape. It stretches, and you can cover up quite a bit of territory. Good thing is, it actually seals against itself. There you go. And that tape lasts a whole lot longer and better sealing than electrical tape. Now we'll run this. Deal with that later. Alright, so now we need to go ahead and move to the other side and do all of that, and then we'll install the controller and then work on adding the remote. All right, so we've got it completely installed. I've got the switch just hanging here. It's pretty strong, so that's good. All right, so what I had to do is I had to find constant power, 12 volts, and so I went on here, had a couple fuses that were not being used, and found 12 volts here. I used my ground is this wire here. It's already as a good ground, so I just ran it as far as I could. I ended up putting the get some light underneath here for you. So I ended up putting the box. You see that blue box up in there? That's where I ended up shoving that over there out of the way, and then you had to install the little the red wire with the blue clip there. You see connector is the fuse, little inline fuse that they have supplied, so we got to put that on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect up the remote key system that came with the system. And this is the one I showed you before. It's a Avital system, and it comes with a lot of extra wires. It has a lot of options, most of which I'm not going to use. So I'll kind of walk you through here what all this mess is. So there is a black wire and then a purple and black wire. Both of those are ground. So I've ground those together. Those are going to go to ground. I'm kind of surprised the ground's got a fuse box on it, but so does the power one. So not really sure why that is. But anyway, the yellow wire goes to power when the key is turned on, when the ignition is turned on. So I found a extra spot on the fuse box that's not being used. It's actually for power windows, which my truck doesn't have, so that's what this is for. And then you've got several others, but there's a blue and a black stripe and green with the black stripe. And you've got several different instruction manuals that come with this. You'll see here that this is the system and tells you how to connect up the Avital to the MES system. Cool. So what it tells you here is if your actuator locks when it's retracted, then the green and black goes to the purple MES wire, blue and black goes to the brown. So those wires are in that real thick black cable. So we're going to have to unsheath part of it without cutting any of it. And then they provide you these little crimping, little splicer tools, I should say. You stick both wires in there and then clamp it down, and it goes around it and then it makes a little junction. So we're going to go ahead and start working on stripping that and then getting this thing mounted up underneath the dash. Alright, so I got it, sorry, bouncing around in here. So I got it mounted up in there, just kind of wired in a couple spots just to kind of hold it on there. Yeah, the good thing is this wire right here, this wire is the one that I've got to splice into, so it's right there next to it. Now I just need to figure out where to shove all of this wire here, that bundle, get it out of the way. Alright, so I don't like those connectors that came with it. These are basically, their wire can go on each side. So you shove a wire in each side, wrap it around it, just pop it through there, and then this crimps it down. These are much easier to use. That other one, you have to like try to stack two wires on top of each other. I'll show you. So if the way it's designed, you have to get two wires in there and then try to crimp it down. That's a pain in the rear. Alright, let's find out what happens. Outstanding. No programming required. Done. Now we can go ahead and put everything back together.